Voldemort having no nose is one of the most debated topics within the entire Harry Potter story. It has garnered so much attention, both comical and serious. It has also sparked many theoretical discussions amongst fans throughout the internet, but the question still remains: why does Voldemort not have a nose? Lord Voldemort, the most powerful dark wizard to ever walk the earth, feared by so many, someone who killed hundreds of innocent people and for a short time succeeded in taking over the Ministry of Magic. However, it's his appearance that really has been the subject of much debate. Before his changing appearance, he was described as being a very handsome young man, and I believe it makes the physical changes more imaginable. One of the standout changes was Voldemort losing all of his hair, leaving him completely bald. His eyes also turned an evil, intimidating blood red too. But it was his nose that caused much discussion, or their lack of a nose you could say. It was instead replaced with two snake or serpent-like slits on his face where his nostrils would have been. The thing is, he used to have a nose, so what happened? Did parts of his nose fall off? Did it slowly morph into snake-like slits? Or did it just change quickly after creating one Horcrux too many? It's actually debated what Voldemort's physical form looked like before he lost his body after failing to kill Harry Potter. There's some who believe that the Dark Lord actually had a full nose and looked more human-like before his first fall, and it was his regenerative body that gave him the snake-like appearance. And while this argument is very strong, it's countered in the Goblet of Fire when the Dark Lord uses the terms "my old powers" and "my old body." The "my old body" line implying that the one he lost in Godric's Hollow is the same as the one he's just gotten back. It's also evident that the mutation happens in stages too. When Tom Riddle returns to Hogwarts sometime around 1956, Dumbledore noticed his drastic change in appearance, but it was nowhere close to how Voldemort was later depicted. Anyway, moving on, we know that this has always been the same body, and for the sake of the video, I'm happy to go with that belief. This is simply my opinion, and you're all entitled to disagree completely. If any of you think it was two different bodies, that's fine with me. Judging from what went into recreating his body, like Pettigrew's hand, Harry's blood, his father's bone, I do feel there's still evidence to say it was actually a different body, but I'm going to stay with my original choice. So I'm moving ahead with the thought of it being the same body simply from the Goblet of Fire quotes I mentioned. Now, there are many who believe that a human soul is a spiritual representation of a person's humanity. It reflects upon you. To create a Horcrux, one must commit murder in order to split the soul, and from the little knowledge there is on Horcruxes before Tom Riddle, it appears as if the very few who had created Horcruxes only ever created one. Tom planned on making 7 and succeeded in making 6 intentionally. As the soul is a representation of a person's humanity, when it's not only split but then torn from the body and concealed in a foreign object, it would surely begin to take its toll on the person physically. In a way, it's almost like a darker side of magical evolution, exchanging humanity for conquering death. Voldemort multiplied his rate of evolution. He did not go back when he began to change. He did not stop. He continued his killing spree and deeply embraced himself in dark magic. It consumed him as he cemented his immortality. The nose, however, is so distinguishable on a human that it's probably the most notable change on the Dark Lord. The association of his reptilian features with evil is not without cause, since many reptiles lack the type of empathy that is present more potently in mammals and even sometimes in modern day warm-blooded predators. Reptiles, however, are ancient, cold, and their evilness has deep and famed roots in Christian religion. But how exactly did his nose physically change? Did it fall off, or did it slowly morph? Well, a big clue for me in terms of how his nose physically changed was in the following quote. It was as though his features had been burned and blurred. They were waxy and oddly distorted, and the whites of his eyes now had a permanently bloody look. though the pupils were not yet the slits that Harry knew they would become. Now, from that quote, I'm looking at 4 words: burned, blurred, waxy, and distorted. Let's take waxy. If his skin was like wax, everyone knows how easy wax is easily shaped and distorted. And if this was indeed the case, the Dark Lord's features became wax-like due to him becoming less human. Blurred and burned. Again, wax-like features can appear blurry and possibly from irritation, burned. Or Lord Voldemort physically could have made the changes himself, pulling and tearing off the wax-like parts of his face, revealing his new form, or shedding his former skin, exactly like what animal? A snake. What appears to be evolution to Voldemort is actually, in my opinion, a severe consequence for the desecration of the human soul. He felt no regret, no remorse, and no compassion. There really wasn't much humanity in him to start with, and for that reason I also believe the changes happened a lot more rapidly. Lord Voldemort appeared more and more less human because he was truly a monster on the inside. The monster that lived within him his entire life was finally brought to the surface. And that is all for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel if it is your first time watching. And if you're a fan of the channel and feel like you'd like to contribute, my restructured Patreon account is up and running, and in exchange for your contribution of a minimum of $1 a month, there are many rewards you can receive, like suggesting one of my upcoming videos, exclusive Patreon only videos for you to watch, and even one-to-one Skype calls where we can hang out and talk everything Harry Potter or anything in general. So please make sure to check out some of my other videos on the left hand side of the screen. My second channel, Game of Thrones Lore, is on the right hand side of the screen. And if you want to check out some merch, I've got a merch store on the bottom right, or you can click the link in the description below. Thanks again everyone, and I hope you all have a great day.